All right, good morning, folks. Again, welcome to Insurance Advisors Direct Retirement Roadblock platform series of webinars. As you all know, at the end, you'll be able to ask questions, and also this presentation will be on our YouTube page. So without further ado, we're going to get started. We have Brandon with us again. Doing wonderful with the presentations. Brandon, here, take it away, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you, Bernard, and welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to keep this series going. As Bernard said, this is I think it's the fourth one we've done. So if you've missed any of the past ones, want to take a look back, go ahead and check out that YouTube page. They're up there. I actually watched some, which was probably not the greatest move because I get a little self-conscious, but we move on. Today, we're talking about a couple pieces that you have available through your partnership with IAD on this protected income platform. So what we're going to do is just a quick review on the retirement roadblocks. Then we're going to dig into longevity risk. It sounds like it's simple. It's actually complicated, but what's really cool about the retirement roadblocks platform, the tools you have available now through IAD, is you're able to take this really complicated idea, simplify it down using the supporting tools, using some of Bernard and your IAD marketers coaching. And as they say, you can simplify your success through this program. And then at the end of this, I'm going to tell you about an upcoming webinar that we're going to be hosting outside the series. We're partnering with Prudential on that one. I'll give you a little bit of details at the end, so stay tuned for that announcement there. But let's dig in. Retirement roadblocks. If you remember back to what we talked about, this is specifically the story of Bill and Jill and how they manage retirement and go through these 7 retirement risks. What's really cool about the program and the platform is these all build on each other. So today we're talking about longevity risk, the tools, the materials. Next week, we're going to talk about inflation risk, and I'm actually going to show you how you can have a conversation. We're working with one of the IAD agents now on using the tools on longevity, partnered with the tools on inflation to bring this whole idea together. As we go deeper and deeper into all of these risks, you're going to see more and more ways that these just build to create one easy to operate, easy to execute meeting, which we're also going to add to the webinar piece where we can show you how do you execute a meeting around these ideas. So really cool stuff, and we're going to dig into it. I've mentioned this before, but longevity risk is really the risk multiplier. In many cases, it is the most important risk in retirement because of the fact that it multiplies all of the other risks. The longer you live, the more risk you have around inflation. The longer you live, the more healthcare risk you have, the more market risk you have. And it's all based on the longer you live. You might remember I told the story of Hester Ford, who unfortunately passed away recently, but was the oldest American at either age 115 or 116. A long time ago, there weren't great record keeping, so we're not sure where, but she was the oldest American. In fact, today, there are 92,000 Americans that are over age 100. In the next 20 years, it's expected that that's going to double to about 190,000 Americans over the age of 100. So this idea of longevity is not going away. It's getting more and more prevalent. So to review real quick on what we have to support you, around retirement roadblocks, we've got a lot of tools that gear around every single risk. There are calculators, which you're going to see today, a video, which you're also going to see today. All of these things, I'll remind you, are free for you to leverage because you work with IAD. We're actually going to watch one of the videos that another agent or advisor has used as part of their YouTube page. It's out there. It looks like it's their video. You have access to leverage these things, to put them on LinkedIn, to put them on Facebook, to say, hey, have you heard of this? To help tell your network and your client base that I've got a new tool in my toolkit. Let's talk about these risks. There's even a mobile app that allows you to leverage these in virtual and mobile meetings. You also have the white paper, which I'm going to give you the version of the white paper today live. But if you want to go ahead and read the content to further educate yourself, or to look ahead, these exist. And that's the tools that you can read to quickly understand and get an idea of what all of these risks entail and how to talk about them. And then finally, we've got the consumer guide and a digital pitch kit to help leverage during meetings and getting the word out. I'm going to show you the ones that are targeted around longevity risk today. But again, all of this exists to really simplify your success in bringing this new idea to your clients as part of your new way that you can help them with protected lifetime income. So when you want to access these, as I mentioned, they are all clustered together. So it's easy to access, it's easy to find, it's really well organized. And to get access to the site, reach out to Bernard, reach out to your IAD marketer. But let's talk a little bit about longevity risk. So in the client consumer guide, you're going to see that on each one of the risks on the left-hand side is going to be a quick paragraph or two about what's the risk. On the right-hand side is going to be an infographic. Leveraging this along with the words and along with the ideas I'm going to share with you today are going to help you to have this conversation. But let's dig into what is longevity risk. I think the easiest way to introduce you to longevity risk is to show you that video. So I'm taking a little risk here. I'm doing a webinar where I'm showing a video off YouTube. So let's hope this works through. If it doesn't, you can find this through asking Bernard, your IAD marketer. But I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that this works out. Longevity risk.
Retirement. Many of us, when we think about retirement, dream of traveling the world, pursuing our hobbies, volunteering in our community, or getting to spend more time with our family. Of course, the challenge many of us will face as we retire is how do we make sure our money lasts as long as we do? After all, the goal of retirement is to spend it how we want. To do that, we have to answer one obvious question. Just how long do we have to stretch our money for? Back in the 1950s, the average length of retirement for 65-year-old men was 8 years. That's it. Today, retirement looks very different. One of the biggest changes is that we have a higher life expectancy, and living longer means a longer retirement. Life expectancy is defined as the average number of years of life remaining for a group of people at any given age. And to understand just how this impacts our retirement, consider siblings Bill and Jill. At 65, Bill's life expectancy is 89, meaning that if he retires today, he needs to figure out how to make his money last 24 more years. Jill's life expectancy is 90. That's 25 years of retirement. But that's only living to the average life expectancy. Think of it this way. You have 100 men in a room and 100 women in another. Half will live beyond life expectancy and half will live less. Furthermore, 25 out of 100 men can expect to live to age 94. 5 out of 100 could live to 100. 25 out of 100 women can expect to live to age 96. 5 out of 100 could live to 102. As odd as it may sound, living longer than you planned is an actual risk in retirement. We call it longevity risk. And longevity risk makes all of retirement's other risks greater. It's a risk multiplier. Take inflation. Let's say inflation is a constant 3% during your retirement. Today, Bill spends $100 on his groceries, But when he reaches life expectancy, his grocery cost will have more than doubled to $222.13. By age 94, his grocery bill would now be $257.51. That's 2.5 times what it was when he retired. If Bill's income didn't increase in retirement, he would quickly find himself looking for ways to cut his grocery spending. Longevity risk multiplies inflation risk, making Bill's retirement much more challenging. Luckily, there are financial strategies you can use to help reduce longevity risk. Ask your financial professional about the use of various insurance products and financial strategies that might be right for you.
So as you can see from that video, it's a really brief 2 to 3 minute introduction, and it was actually branded by one of the advisors and agents that work with us. You have the ability to gain access to that, leverage it in social media, leverage it with your client meetings as well, send it out via email in order to give your clients an idea of some of these risks. Now, as I mentioned, that is a really high level overview of the risk. So what I want to do is give you all now a rundown of longevity risk, because it's not as simple as it sounds, and there's a lot of misconceptions about longevity risk, because it's not just life expectancy. So life expectancy is a term that actually requires a bit of precision. So it's defined by the average number of years a person in a population could expect to live after age X. In many cases, they use birth, so that age X is age 0. So life expectancy is the number of years somebody can expect to live after birth. Right now, according to the CDC, the average life expectancy of an American is 78.7 years. However, for purposes of retirement income planning, using 78.7 years is a little bit misleading. You saw in the video, we were talking 89 and 90. So what's the difference? Why is there a gap there? Because mortality rates during different stages of life dramatically influence the life expectancy at birth data. Conceptually, if you manage to reach age 65, you've already survived several events, illnesses, diseases that have claimed tens of thousands of people during those years. As a result, the life expectancy of a 65-year-old is very different than life expectancy at birth. You have to take that bit of data out. It's been that way throughout all of history. In fact, research has shown that during the last 200 years, once adulthood is reached, life expectancy increases dramatically. If you look at the Roman Empire, the life expectancy was 25. However, if you made it to age 25, your life expectancy doubled to 53. It was that first part that skewed the numbers, which is very similar to the life expectancy data of Americans or of the world's population. So for retirement planning income purposes, it actually is much more helpful to use life expectancy data that correlates to the age of the population that you're going to be working with. For example, using the age 65 and taking life expectancy from that date, not from birth, can give you a much more accurate estimation of life expectancy during retirement. So those numbers can look a little different. So to illustrate life expectancy at birth versus life expectancy at age 65, you can actually look at the Social Security tables. Per the life expectancy tables of Social Security, the life expectancy for a 65-year-old man is just over or just under 83 years, 82.8. For a 65-year-old woman, it's age 65 or 85 and a half. But again, that's still off. We've been talking 89 and 90, not 83 and 85. What's going on? Again, data can be misleading. So when you're looking at life expectancy data, to understand what populations are being used to compile the data, it's generally understood that the larger the data set, the more accurate the results. Well, suppose the population used skews in one direction or the other, or doesn't really reflect the population that you're working with. In that case, conclusions that you draw using data that doesn't align with who you're working with can really give you misinformation regarding your target market or your client base. So for example, Social Security uses the CDC data based on the whole United States. So that data includes all segments of the United States population, and it doesn't actually make a distinction for education level, income, or access to healthcare. All of those things are known contributors to life expectancy and mortality rates. For example, the gap in life expectancy in the US for the top 1% of earners, the richest 1%, and the poorest 1% is a difference of 14.6 years because of those things around access to healthcare, education, and overall income. So when you're looking at that data, how do you define the kind of folks that work with financial professionals like yourself? Well, what you have to do is you have to take a look at what's called the individual annuity mortality table as one of the best tools to help us figure out what are the kind of, what's the data that people that work with financial professionals provide. You may have seen that in the bottom of the video based on the IAM mortality tables. What that means is it's used by the actual mortality experience of insurance companies pertaining to their annuity and life insurance blocks of business. It's helpful because it reflects the client base of financial professionals. So again, folks that work with financial professionals often make up that subset of the US population that has a higher life expectancy due to more assets, due to being employed throughout their lifetime in order to have access to healthcare, to go to the doctor and avoid some of these illnesses and diseases that folks who are unemployed or who don't have access to these skew the numbers down. So using that table can actually reflect the kind of people that we're working with and the right data that we want to leverage to really reflect what they need to be thinking about. So for example, when we look at the IAM, as you can see down there, mortality tables, men and women, 50% of men will live to age 89, 50% of women will live to age 90. Again, as the video said, half will live longer and half will live shorter than that. 25% of men will live to age 94, 96% of women, or 25% of women will live to age 96, and then down to 5% of men will hit age 100, 5% of women will hit age 102. It becomes more useful when you're building out retirement income plans if you use that data point and that table, because the retirement plan is built to generate income, or if the retirement plan is built to generate income to age 89 or 90, the data shows that half the time that income plan may fall short of providing a lifetime income solution. Additionally, if the income plan is to address longevity, you may want to look at that 25th percentile. At the 25th percentile, you would plan for a life expectancy of age 94 and 96 for men and women, a full 11 years longer than what the Social Security life table states. Now, some people may even argue that you should think longer than that. A good example where if what that's really saying is 25% of folks may live longer. If you don't plan for that, 25% of people may run out of money. A good example of an analogy to think about is if you were going to get on a plane and somebody said, hey, this has a 25% chance of reaching its destination, how comfortable would you be getting on the plane? Personally, I want that number to be a little lower. I want a better than 1 in 4 chance of making it to the end of my trip. Very similar in a retirement trip. If I know that there's a 1 in 4 chance that I could run out of money and I actually end up in that 25%, it's too late for me to fix the problem. I'm not going to make it, and there's nothing I can do. I may want a little more security than that's providing. So it's said time and time again, we've said it multiple times, that longevity risk is the risk multiplier. All of the risks generally associated with retirement income planning become magnified. So we talked in the video briefly about inflation. At a 3% inflation rate, the cost of goods and service will double in 24 years. So if I'm age 65, 24 years, I'm going to be 89. My income must double in order to keep up with the rising costs of goods and services. If inflation is higher, which we'll talk about next week, that the number of years that my income needs to double drops. I need to double faster if there's higher than a 3% inflation. Additionally, you may hear a lot of folks say the 4% rule. What is that? Well, it's a financial study that says, what is the safe amount of money somebody can take out of an investment portfolio and not run out of money over the course of 30 years? Now that number has changed over time, which we'll get into withdrawal rate risk. But think about even just that standard 4% rule you might have heard. That was planning for 30 years. 30 years might not make it. That's a 25% chance that you're going to run out of money, even with the general rule. Again, in my opinion, I'm not really comfortable with a 25% chance of failure. I want it to be lower than that. And by working with IAD, by working with the Protected Lifetime Income platform, you can help your clients ensure that that's not going to happen. You can help them create income streams that keep up with inflation, that are laddered against the inflation risk, so that no matter how old they get, they always have income and they don't have to worry about that 25, 5, or 50% risk of running out of money. So one of the things I mentioned is I wanted to show you the tools that exist today to help you have this conversation with clients and how I would approach this conversation with a client. On that page that I showed you earlier with all the little boxes, there was one that said longevity risk. If you click in that box, it brings you to a page that has the consumer guide, the white paper, it has the video, and the calculator. You click on the calculator link, this is what it brings up. It's a very simple piece. I actually would use this with every one of my clients that I wanted to have a discussion with to help show them what is the actual life expectancy risk that they're dealing with. And what you do is you type in a report name. I gave this IAD webinar example. You type in the client's information, its name and age. Valued client, joint client, in this case, they're both 65. There's a button on the bottom here that says continue. You click that and what comes up is their report. And what you can see is it's got our client's valued and joint client presented by me. Your name will be there, your client's names will be there, and your title will be there instead of these generic pieces. And what it's telling them is, well, Mr. and Mrs. Client, for a couple your age, 50% chance you're going to live 29 years. For a couple your age, there's a 25% chance you're going to make it 33 years. So now all of a sudden, instead of thinking about, hey, we're retiring, we're going to live until our 80s, they need to be thinking about, 33 years is one of them is going to make it to 98. And putting this in front of them and saying, have you thought about that? What have you put in place to make sure when you're 98, you have the ability to pay your bills? Now, this is not you telling them. This is pure data, science and math saying, look, these are what the stats show. You can print this out in a PDF and hand it to them and say, you know, one of the things I'm doing is talking about this longevity risk with clients because there's a lot of misunderstanding between life expectancy and longevity risk. And for clients like you who work with financial professionals who care about their health in retirement, this is something you need to be thinking about. What I now have as part of my toolkit is some ways that we can talk about how to protect yourself with protected lifetime income. So if you do make it into your 90s or 100s, you know that you're going to be safe and you don't have to worry about that income. If you haven't talked about that before, we probably should. In fact, if you look at the studies, 80% of clients don't really have a plan. So if you bring this to them and you mention it, chances are they haven't talked about this before. And you're going to be the one bringing it up. You're going to be the one that's going to be able to help them solve this. I have an advisor that I've been working with for 2 months. I met him in March. Now it's May. He started talking about this with his clients and he started helping them with this. Right now, he is in the process of, in 2 months, he's worked with 6 clients to secure their retirement. And when this is done for him, that is a 6-figure payday. He's not only doing right by his clients, right by his community, he's well compensated for it. That's what's great about this is it's benefit for your clients and a benefit for you as you put the work in and the effort in to get these things done. That covers us on longevity risk. I'm at 10:29. I knew it was going to be close, but I promised an announcement coming up about what do we have coming next. So next week, we're hitting on inflation risk. We'll follow that up all the way down the line with all of these different risks. But what's really exciting about coming up is going to be, I believe it's June 10th. We're partnering with Prudential, and we're going to have one of our Prudential partners come on to a webinar. It's going to be in the afternoon, on a Thursday afternoon, to talk about what are the products Prudential has and how can you leverage some free online resources to couple with retirement roadblocks. You can set up your profile. It has articles, it has educational tools, it has your picture, your information, and no cost. So reach out to Bernard, reach out to your IAD marketer and ask about the June 10th Prudential Alliance for Lifetime Income presentation. It's going to be something that if you dive into that, you dive into this, you're going to see some really extraordinary results as we're already having, as I've mentioned, advisors and agents taking advantage of this, and we're going through and having some success already off the bat. Again, I touch on it each time. I'm going to continue to do so. IAD has put together the support tools to help you along the way. Bernard, your marketers, myself, the back office contracting team, the application processing team, we're all here to make it easy for you to simply get in front of your clients, have these simple discussions, share the math, share the science, and you can help them retire while we handle everything behind the scenes. Bernard says it, I know Jason says it, it's simplifying your success, and they've built this entire surround sound support system to do that. So with that, I want to thank everyone for joining today. I know it's a lot of information coming at you. Reach out to Bernard, reach out to your IAD marketer. They can get you all of the tools, all of the resources that I showed and went through today. If you reach out to Bernard, he can get you all of the information on our upcoming ones. And with that, I am going to step back. I'm going to give it back to Bernard, and thank you all for your time today. I really hope it was valuable and you learned a little bit about life expectancy versus longevity risk. Bernard, all yours.
All right, Brandon, my friend, thank you very much. And actually, I don't know about you all, but I really enjoy his presentations. And just a little a story with the retirement roadblocks. Speaking with my dad a couple of weeks ago, and he's a Ford retiree. And every Thursday, and this was pre-COVID, they were having their little monthly meetings at a local restaurant, or drink coffee, and those guys tell their tall tales. So anyway, talking to him about his retirement roadblocks, and my dad is I think he's 79 now, and pretty much same age group as the other Ford retirees. And what he did, because they're always talking about retirement, and even though I'm a financial professional, my dad doesn't listen to me, and I'm pretty sure, like a lot of your parents, don't listen to you. But we're talking about this, so he was like, you know what, you know, I'm going to have his guys give me a call. And actually, a few of them reached out to me. So one of the things that they're talking about longevity, and I mean, these guys, and this is back then when Ford Motor Company, and I don't, want to make this too long, but when auto workers were getting paid a lot. So these guys, their retirement funds are huge. Um, so I'm going to, talk to these guys, tell them about retirement road and the process of longevity, inflation, and sequence of returns and all that good stuff. So it is a door opener. So you folks use that too. Use us, and IAD's, or Insurance Advisors Direct, biggest value to you is us. I mean, we have the solutions for you, but the folks here, the marketers, myself, there's Jason and Christy and Kat, all of us, we have that value add to give to you to make your process simple. So, you know what, folks, I can keep going on, but we'll cut this one short, and we'll wait until next week when we're talking about inflation, and then I'll have maybe another story of how this works, because I'm an agent just like you guys are, and I'm going to continue to be an agent, and I'm going to do agent stuff. So folks, thank you for joining us. Reach out to me so we can get this started for you, because it really works. All right, Brandon, thank you again, my friend.
No problem. Thank you, Bernard. I appreciate the opportunities.
All right, folks, see you guys next week. Take care. Bye.